Okay guys, Jackson here, back from Veridian Cruise. Today we've got the NC750, a highly demanded bike. So when you get your kit, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that everything is in the box. You're going to be receiving the cruise controller, which just looks like a black module with the connector. The appropriate wiring harness, it's got throttle input, throttle output, switch connector, the brake tap, and the diagnostic connector. We've also got our switch of choice. In this case, this is the soft touch switch, but we will have the new 3-button switch for this kit. We've also got some zip ties, a sticker, a wire tap for the brake wire, and the diagnostic connector. So you can use that to reset check engine lights, or configure dealership options. For the install, all you're really going to need is an 8mm, a 10mm, some cutters, a 5mm hex, and a couple of various other small common hand tools. Nothing advanced, nothing specific for this bike. So let's get started. Okay, so here we've got a 2022 North American NC750. The way that the cruise kit is going to work is it's going to intercept the throttle signal and input our own based on data from the diagnostic connector. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open the fuel compartment. We're going to remove the seat by taking off these two connections here. So 1 to 10 mils gets you the seat off. Make sure you're putting everything safely to the side. I like to use buckets for everything, so we've got, the seat. Now we got the seat screws. Put that with that. You'll never lose them again. Next one is this lower plastic here. So we've got one rivet here. You kind of gently unscrew these guys that come apart. For these pop rivet guys, as I've explained in other videos, you kind of just press on the center. So when they look like that, you press on the center, it'll go into a recess position. Now you can get them out, and then just push on the back to reset. So push them in where they need to go, and then just pop it. Now it's normal. So once you've got those pops, just 1 and 2, this whole panel will just pop off. You don't need to take out these screws, they're not screws. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove this top cowling piece. So go ahead and open your little pod bay door. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5mm hex screws, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 pop rivets at the top. For the pop rivets, just having a small sharp tool makes it a lot easier to get those guys out. Okay, and then the whole thing just lifts right up. Next is going to be these two small pieces of trim, so this upper trim and the red trim. The red trim, just take out the one screw. And he will slide, kind of pop the middle out, and then in a forward sliding fashion. For this upper trim, we've got one pop rivet here. And then just kind of work your way forward. There is a big push button in here, you just pull. What I find best is just kind of push down on the black and up on the silver. And then once you get that, kind of do a forward motion, it'll come off. So once you've got those off, we're kind of going to work on both these pieces simultaneously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5mm hex needs to come out. Sorry, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the hole here. Once you've got all the screws, there's 2 pops, one up here and one down here, and then this whole panel should slide forward. And then once you've got that, watch your turn signals. A small pick or tool helps you to get these disconnected. The light blue one is a bit of a pain because you have to lift up. Okay, and then last step for the red panel is there's one more screw hidden back behind here. And then once you've got the red panel off, we've now got access to the electronics area here, which I will do a close-up view and we can show you how to connect all this in detail. If you wanted to, you could probably do this without removing a lot of the back, the seat, the panel, the red panel. You just don't get access to the diagnostic connector, and it's easier to route the wiring in there. So I would just say go ahead and do it. Unless you're trying to be really frugal or you have really small hands, you can fit the wire up in there for the diagnostic. Looking at the right side, a little electronic center. So you've got the 2-pin for the factory heated grips, 8-pin for the throttle connector. This is the actual analog sensor we're going to need. And then this is the start-stop brake sensor wire from the right-hand side combination. So first I would just get these guys out of the way. So you're going to push the tab and lift that off. Same with the 8-pin. And this guy we can disconnect. So at the bottom, he's got a clip you squeeze. That out of the way. We want this off. So on the back, I'll do a close-up in a minute, but there's 3 connectors. So on the back of this, you can see there's 3 pieces to squeeze. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So I find it best if you kind of squeeze together, pull, and then you can push the last one from the top. We're going to go ahead, and this is going to be taped, so it probably would remove the tape just for this water casing. Get this guy slid up. Now we'll disconnect. Little tab here. Okay, so now I've got a close-up of these connectors. We can do the wire tap. On the top, you're going to be looking at the black with teal stripe, and on the bottom, it's just a straight black. So I find it easier to tap into the bottom part of the connector. You just kind of get this guy on, and you can strip back the plastic tape if you need to make it easier. So you can close that halfway once it's on. Then we'll come back, we'll insert the purple wire. There is a little window here so you can see when it's come in far enough. So just like that, you can see that the purple wire's come far enough. You can just give it a bit of a squeeze by hand to hold it for now. In this part, what I would recommend is a pair of pliers that can kind of squeeze parallel with a bit of a gap like this. So we're going to come in, give this guy a squeeze right on the metal. You should feel a bit of a snap, sometimes not always, but now we know that that guy's all the way in, it's flush. We can go ahead and close that up. So now from here, I'm going to bring back our connector in. Get the rubber connector over. This is just a splash guard since this is not a waterproof connector that Honda's used here. And then we'll get that guy back on his post. Because it is going from the bottom upwards, sorry. So now we've got our cruise controller with our harness plugged in. And I found the best place to kind of put this is up and behind here. So he's getting mounted up here. Maybe I'll do another shot of that. And then we'll plug male into male, female into female. So now we've got from the throttle grip going into the cruise controller. This can go back on its original post. And then we've also got from the cruise controller to the ECU. Again, that can go in. And then what's kind of best here, we can remove this guy just to get some more clearance here. But he can sit on this post now. Those actually are the same connector, so they'll mate to those positions. So that's in, the purple connector is connected. The rest of this wire, actually, and I've gone and gotten my sensor here twisted up. Let's keep that free. So I'll just get the rest of this in here. And you could have cut this shorter just to get it out of the way. So he's gonna be nice and protected in there. Plug that back in. Now we've got the switch connector here. And we'll probably just zip tie him here. Now we've got the incoming from the throttle connector. He's going to go into here. And then the connection back to the ECU on the bike. Here. And we'll reuse that mount for the connector. And then this guy will have to zip tie and secure in place. And put this guy back as well. So now everybody's happy here. I think what I'll do is I'll take this around this side. Just like that. Sorry, I'll do a bit of a cut there, but once we get the throttle connector back together, he's going to live on this left side. We've got a tab open here, and I'll see if I can get the Honda, these little bracket guys, and then he'll just snap in there nicely. Might need to just adjust the cabling a little bit, but for this install, we're going to run a cable tie through the back and use that existing hole to mount this. So now I'm not going to cover installing the switch since I don't have the proper switch, but we've got the soft touch switch for this. We're just going to connect that into the 4-pin. And then at this point, I'm going to go ahead and secure the cruise controller. Using some of the holes that are already existing here. One, best if you can get two, kind of securing it in a few different ways. I'm going to leave that one a little bit long. Okay, so this is secure, this is secure. We need to secure our 4-pin switch connector. Probably just do that, just like this guy. I think what we'll do instead is bring it over top and around. Just less stress on the bend. And then we'll secure it to the frame here. Maybe up here where there's a space it can't slide around. Okay, so that secures the switch connector. So now the two 8-pin connectors are secure. Everything else has been put back into place. Cruise controller is safe. Make sure it's not going to get pinched, crushed by anything. And then the nice long diagnostic connector. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we've got our diagnostic connector that needs to meet the diagnostic plug right here. We're going to take them, kind of snake them underneath some of these things. We're going to follow the frame guide here all the way up and around. So we're going to go under the ignition module and then follow the frame back up. And we'll come in just underneath this plastic to keep everything tidy. And then in this case, I have a lot of wire left over, but in the official kits, they will be much shorter. But we're just going to secure this to the frame just like so. Again, in my case, I've got extra wire, but it won't be that case with the proper ones. Okay, so we're just going to do some quick diagnostics here. We've got the cruise controller installed. Hopefully you can see that there is a yellow light on the controller here. That's what we want with the power on. If I squeeze the brake, you'll see yellow and red flash. That means it's seeing the brake signal. And again, yellow. If you get a red, that generally means there's no diagnostic if it's a solid red. Okay, so that's kind of the install. If there's questions, please send us emails. I'll make videos or details depending what you need. And from here, it's just kind of following the reverse procedure. You'll do the big red panel, the front panels, then the rear panel and the seat. I'll just kind of do a time lapse here. If there's questions, let me know. info@Veridian Cruise. Okay, and that's the install. I won't cover the switch because we'll have a different switch by the time this video comes out. I'll do a little mini video on that just so you guys can get an idea how it works. Any questions? Again, info@Veridian Cruise.